Welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. David Shuster here. This has been a fascinating period in the world of politics, particularly on the Republican side. Republicans, as you will recall, got burned in the last election because a number of their Senate candidates in particular were so extreme, were so out there that they couldn't win a general election. And you had folks like Todd Akin, who was making comments in Missouri about legitimate rape, and others who were making similar comments. So what has happened is some of the establishment in the Republican Party, led by Karl Rove, they have begun a new effort to try and recruit and to try to promote more moderate Republican candidates who are conservative, according to Karl Rove, but who also have a chance of winning general elections. And so what Karl Rove did is he started something known as the Conservative Victory Project, and it's being run by one of the folks from American Crossroads GPS. This was the group that Karl Rove, the super PAC that Karl Rove used in the 2012 election cycle that collected some $300 million. And the goal of the Conservative Victory Project, again, will be to fund and promote and support more moderate Republicans who Karl Rove believes can win. And specifically, some of the races that Karl Rove and the Republican establishment are looking at, the Iowa Senate race. Keep in mind that Tom Harkin, Democrat from Iowa, has announced that he's not going to run for re-election. So there's a heck of a Senate race that's going to come up there in 2014. And there's been some discussion that Congressman Steve King, who's one of the leaders of the Tea Party caucus in the House of Representatives, is looking at that race for U.S. Senate. So Karl Rove and some of the other Republican establishment figures think, oh my goodness, there's no way Congressman Steve King could win a general election in Iowa. So what can we do as far as promoting one of his rival candidates? Well, this has set off some of the conservative radio talkers. This has made them go crazy. In particular, there's a conservative talker by the name of Mark Levin. And he claims that the Republican Party is most interesting and most helpful when it has a variety of voices, and that Karl Rove is now the enemy of the Republican Party. Here's Mark Levin.
The diversity that comes to the Republican Party is through the conservative and Tea Party movement, not through the Republican establishment. They backed Crist in Florida. They backed the moderate lieutenant governor in Texas. They put up a moderate attorney general in Kentucky to try and beat Rand Paul.
So Mark Levin, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, you know, Rush Limbaugh, you had folks like Sean Hannity, some others expressing grave reservations about the idea that Karl Rove and the Republican establishment might be trying to take back the Republican Party. If you are a Democrat, if you are a progressive, this should be absolutely delightful to you, because you are seeing a civil war in the Republican Party. You're seeing the Republicans start to go after each other in a way that can only help Democrats. Now, the theory, at least according to Karl Rove and some of the other establishment Republicans, is that unless they have this battle on the Republican side now, that if the Tea Party continues to have the effect that it has had on the party over the last two election cycles, the Republican Party will be a permanent minority. So Karl Rove and others are arguing, they're telling Republican funders, we need to clear out the underbrush. We need to get rid of folks like, well, not get rid of, but we need to make sure that folks like Steve King cannot win a Republican primary battle for the U.S. Senate in Iowa. So it's a fascinating battle on the Republican side. And again, for Democrats, this should come as a great joy, because the Republican Party is trying to come up with its identity. And as the Republican Party goes after one another, as folks like Karl Rove start civil wars with others in the party, as the Tea Party goes after Rove and he goes after the Tea Party, and they're all fighting, that's good news for Democrats in the short term. The long-term question again becomes, will the Republican Party become more moderate? And if so, if it does become more moderate, it would likely become more successful in general elections.